ओम सर्ववेदांत सिद्धांत गोचरम तमगोचरम गोविंदम परमानंदम सद्गुरुं प्रणतोस्म्यहम्. Let me greet you all on this holy occasion of Ramanavami. We are studying here Sri Shankaracharya's Viveka Chudamani. And last time we read up to Shloka 317. In the context, I told you that this process of knowledge entering into the very core of our heart is a long drawn process. And long drawn or short drawn depends upon how much old sanskara we have. And there are two types of obstructions. One is our thinking has been polluted due to our ignorance for lives together. That gets corrected by right thinking. But the main obstructions are that for centuries together, lives together, we have the sanskar of bhog, the subject relishing the objects. Whether the subject gets hit by the objects, whether the subject gets depressed due to the objects, yet the tendency to conquer the objects, to enjoy them, becomes very, very deep. That is a funny thing. If we enjoy, if the subject enjoys an object, the tendency increases. If the subject is unable to enjoy the object, the tendency increases. So, the solution is neither in enjoying nor in abstaining also. As the Bhagavad Gita has told us, if we abstain, the object may not come to us, but the tendency will not go. The Gita says, Rasavarjam, Vishaya Vinivartante Niraharasya Dehina Rasavarjam Rasopyasya Param Drishtva Nivartate. So the rasa, it is not rasa of Brahman. Rasa means the tendency to enjoy. That vanishes only when the reality is realized. But on the way to realize the reality, the struggle continues. And that struggle is being described here. We'll see that we'll have another 80, 90 shlokas till we come to the point of realization. So the main important point we are drawing apart from the particular shlokas is that it's a long drawn process and we should not make haste. Intensity is different from haste. And so we have to be intense in our struggle and we have to be patient and perseverant, and with zeal we have to struggle. Then only the result comes gradually. Struggle, if light or gradual, the result will come only God knows. But when the struggle is intense, the result takes place gradually. That is the lesson we learn from Sri Ramakrishna. He is singing a song, तेरा बनत बनी जाई, तेरी बिगड़ी बात बनी जाई, हरि से लागी रहो रे भाई. Be attached to God always, be perseverant in your struggle to reach the God, but the thing will happen gradually. Even the thing which is spoiled will be made all right gradually. And after singing, used to say, one should not have this lukewarm devotion. One requires intense devotion. It will happen now. How to connect these two thoughts? They are not contradictory. The intensity and the struggle has to be strong. But to know that the result comes gradually, there is the meaning there. And that we are seeing here in Viveka Chudamani, that it appears as if we have got it, we have got it, we have got it. But it is still away. Tivra Samveganam Asanna, says Patanjali, those who struggle is intense, they it is near to them, relatively near, but the result comes gradually. So we are in that process, and now we read Shloka 318. Sadvasana spurti vijrumbhane sati aso vilenapi ahamadi vasana ati prakrishtapi aruna prabhayam viliyate sadhu yathata misra. Sadvasana, two meanings. The impression of our real nature. Second meaning, the desire for our real nature. That is vasana. Spurti, that means the spurti is the intensity in that desire. Vijrumbhane, when it becomes manifest. Manifest within, it need not be manifest to people. It becomes manifest even to the outside people. They cannot understand what is happening, but they see the intensity of the struggle. Sati means when that happens, then asau ahamadi vasana vilina api. This vasana, ahamadi means ego is the first vasana, or vasana starting from ego. Every vasana starts from I want this, I shall do this, I will change this. So the vasanas start from I. And all the vasanas starting from I, ahamadi vasana, vilina api, they get dissolved, they get lost when the desire for realizing ourselves becomes manifestly strong. Then the other has no place. Ati prakrishta api, it might have been stronger before. The desire starting from ego may have been very strong before, but when this desire becomes strong, desire to realize the reality becomes strong, that will definitely go away. That will go definitely be lost. He gives an example, and we have to understand that example properly. In the light of what Sri Krishna has told, and in that light we shall see the real meaning of that. Aruna Pravayam Yatha Aruna Pravayam Tamisra Sadhu Viliyate. What is Aruna Prabha? Who is Aruna? In the Indian mythological understanding accepted by Shankara, the sun sits in a very huge chariot and comes to us. And the name of the charioteer is Aruna. So what is Aruna Prabha? The redness appearing on the east horizon at dawn. We call it dawn. Vishakal, Brahma Murta. So that is the Aruna Prabhaya. The translation is not wrong. Translation says glow of the rising sun. Sun is rising, but the glow has come there. Now, Sri Krishna has given the example of intense desire to realize God as the dawn, light of the dawn. And he says, now just wait for 42 minutes, graphically, figuratively, and the sun is definitely going to rise. When the sun will rise, there will be no trace of darkness. We cannot say that after the sun rises, the darkness vanishes. You know how the Saint Gnaneshwar has put it. He says people call sun as the destroyer of darkness, enemy of darkness. But I asked Mr. Sun, have you ever seen darkness? That means that is very nature of the sun. Where the sun is there, darkness is not there. Sun does not have to do something to remove the darkness, but the sunrise has yet to take place. And we have seen the redness on the horizon that is being compared here to the intensity of the desire to realize being manifest. The desire to realize becomes manifestly intense, that is compared with the dawn, and then only he says the strongest ahamadi vasanas will get dissolved. तमा तम कार्यम अनर्थ जालम न दृश्यते सति उदिते दिनेशे तथा द्वयानंद रसानुभूतौ न वास्ते बंधो न च दुःख गंधा. In this shloka, udite dineshe is very clear. Aruna Prabha was clear. Aruna Prabha was the glow or the redness, and udite dineshe is when the sun has risen. The darkness of ignorance and all the products of that ignorance, which are always troublesome, a network of troubles, cannot be seen when the sun has risen. That is what Gnaneshwar tells. When the sun rises, darkness cannot be seen. Then the products of darkness also cannot be seen. That is the example Shankar says, Tatha, in that very way, Advaya Ananda Rasa Anubhuto, non-dual bliss, and the source of that bliss, when experienced, in that case, now asti bandho, no trace of bondage remains, nacha dukkha gandha. All the miseries troubling us are not seen. The smell, even of misery, is not there. Now, this should be made little more clear. People think that a yogi should not suffer from common cold. The yogi should not have fever. That is not true. We refer to Bhagwan in the Gita and Shankar's translation, interpretation of that shloka. Yasmin sthito na dukkhe na gurunapi vichalyate. When he is established in that place, he is not disturbed even by the heavy miseries. That means miseries are there. And Shankar there describes that memory as Shastra Sannipatena api. Even if a weapon cuts that man, his be established in the place will not go. So there are layers of our personality. The body may have pain, the mind does not. Even in mind, some problem comes, but the bliss of the Atman does not go. That one must understand. Otherwise, we'll have wrong expectations about ourselves, not only, but about the man of realization, about God Himself. I know some people who honored and loved Sri Ramakrishna, and when they read about his suffering from cancer, they gave him up. That is the gross mindedness. We should see, in spite of that cancer, how blissful he was. So cancer was there, the pain was there, and his bliss was there. We have another example in Sri Ramakrishna that Swami Turiyanandaji, young boy Hari at that time, Sri Ramakrishna in his absorbed mood had fallen physically and a bone of his arm had slipped. And so the doctors had put a lintel. Hearing this, he came to see him. Also, the same event might have happened in cancer also. But what I have heard, I am telling you, that when Hari Maharaj came to see him and asked him how you are, he showed. He even expressed pain and said, see how much pain it is. And that the doctors have put a lintel, I cannot even make my hand straight. See how painful it is. He was not hiding. But Hari Maharaj was a Vedanti. He stood there for 5 minutes and says, Maharaj, let it be, let it be. I see that you are immersed in bliss. And then Sri Ramakrishna says, this rascal has caught me. This very intelligent boy has caught me. That is the state one has to understand. And so, here when Shankar says, Nacha Dukha Gandha, one should not mistake that he will never have any suffering. Suffering is in the body. Sometimes the suffering is even in the mind. But he is not the mind. He is not the body. He is in his own bliss. So, when the sun has risen, when the Advaya Ananda Rasa has been experienced, there is neither bondage nor any misery which can trouble him. Drishyam pratitam pravilapayan san sanmatram ghanam vibhavayan samahita san bhairantaram va kalam nayetha sati karma bandhe sati. This topic will be taken up by Shankaracharya later on about the Jivan Mukti and Prarabdha and all that. And we are very clear that he is describing here the Nididhyasana state where the struggle is still continued. Though he can feel Brahman, he can experience Brahman, but it is not full realization up till now. And so one has to understand this. This is a process. Drishyam pratitam. He sees the objects and he feels the object. Drishyam pratitam. He sees the objects and he feels those objects. Pravilapayan son, but due to his knowledge, he rejects them, he dissolves them, he negates them. San matra ananda ganam. The congealed existence and consciousness vibhavaya. He feels, he thinks, he tries to experience, he does experience. And so that is this struggle between the two. And that struggle takes place samahita san. When the mind is completely absorbed in Brahman, mind is there, but it is absorbed in Brahman. That is called samadhi. This samadhi is what normally is known as savikalpa samadhi. Because the I is not yet gone, but it is absorbed in Brahman. Vairantara. Now this is the so this meditation or feeling of Brahman is of two types, and both will lead to the same result. A wonderful statement here. Either he sees that the whole world is nothing but Brahman, or He sees that inside me there is nothing but Brahman. Bahir antaram va. You must understand this, that the immanence also leads to the same result, as the Gita tells in the 9th chapter. So, he may feel the Brahman existing everywhere. That is called Bhai. He may feel, that is also Samadhi. That is also Samadhi, because the mind does not admit the existence of the external world. It admits Brahman as appearing is the external world. And or Vairantaram Va, or he does not care for the outside world, and he understands that what he calls he, his body, mind, soul, aham, they do not exist, only the reality exists. So he is meditating inside to feel his Atman, which is nothing but Brahman. In either case, he is absorbed in a very important shloka, please, that he may meditate to see that the Brahman is all. Sarvam khalu idam Brahman. Or he may say, I am Atma Brahman. In either case, it will result in the same knowledge. So, when he negates or dissolves the external world which he feels and always meditates on or feels or experiences or things of the congealed joy which is existence through through total concentration or through 10% absorption outside or inside, God everywhere or God inside. Kalam nayatha. This is a mandate. Do like this. Spend time like this. Sati karma bande. So long as the karma bandhan is on you, so long as the karmas are not exhausted their power, do like this. Do meditate. If you cannot meditate always inside, sometimes you can meditate outside. That God is everywhere. And both of these processes are valid. Shankaracharya is telling us here. We should not miss this point. Pramado Brahma Nishtayam na kartavya kadachana. Pramado Mrityurityaha Bhagavan Brahmana Sutaha. There is something called Pramada. What is Pramada? Slackness. Now this process, if you slacken this process, then the other sanskaras will come up. And he is referring here to, there is a part in Mahabharata, that part is called Sanat Sujati. You have to understand that history because Shankara has referred to it. Yudhishthira, Dhritarashtra was the temporary king, assigned king, because Pandu had given up his kingdom in the care of Dhritarashtra. So Dhritarashtra was a temporary in charge king, but he had that strong desire of enjoying that kingdom. And so the result was that again and again he would come under depression. And his younger brother, though not of the same caste, born of a dasi or maid servant, was his minister, was Vidura. And Vidura was a wise person. So Dhritarashtra will call upon Vidura every time, and Vidura will somehow make him understand things, and the depression would go. But once the depression had become so strong, Vidura feels that he is not listening to me. Either I am of a lower caste or I am junior to him, so my words are not carrying that conviction which they should have carried. So Vidura had learned his trade, Vidura has got his knowledge through Sanat Kumar. Here, Sanat Kumar is referred as Brahmana Suta, Brahma's son. Brahma had 4 sons who never entered the world, who always remained celibate, who always only meditated upon God. Sanat Kumar was one of them. Now, and Vidur had got his knowledge from Sanat Kumar. So Vidura invokes Sanat Kumar. And when Sanat Kumar comes, Vidura says, please talk to the king. That conversation between the Dhritarashtra and Sanat Kumar is described in Mahabharata under the heading Sanat Sujati. And Shankaracharya has written a commentary on that portion. That is the importance of that portion, though we are not studying normally. There, the first question which Dhritarashtra asked, revered sir, will you please tell me what is death? Because he was mortally afraid of his own death, his son's death in the war. So he is asking the questions, sir, tell me about death. To which Sanat Kumar replies, King, what you call death is no death for us. It is just change of a body. We don't pay much attention to that. But we are asking about death. I'll tell you, slackness is death. Slackness is death, spiritual death. So, this Shankara is referring to Pramado Mrityu iti aha Bhagwan Brahmana Sutta. Bhagwan, the revered sir, the son of Brahma, Sanat Kumar, while talking to Dhritarashtra, has told us that slackness is death. And so, Brahmanishtayam Pramado na kartavya kadachana. Brahmanishtha is that state. Brahmanishtha is that state where some experience, feelings are there, not yet realization. After realization, no, nothing is required further. We have discussed that. Shankara will discuss that in great details later on. But during that nishtha, where the mind is steadfastly seeking Brahman, that nishtha, during that nishtha, slackness should not be there. If there is slackness in getting attached to Brahman, it will result in the old sanskaras coming up. And as Sanat Kumar described that slackness is death, okay? So, in our life, this slackness comes as inattentiveness. If we make some mistake, we defend it by telling, oh, by mistake that happened. Yes, mistake always happens by mistake, but the result is the same. And so, here, that process has to continue. And that is why this long process is being described. And during that it is told, Brahmanishtayam kadachana, never, never, never. Pramado na kartavya. Never we should do any slackness there. Pramado mrityurityaha, Bhagwan Brahmana Sutta. Na pramadat anarthonyo jnanina swaswarupataha tato mohas tato hamdi tato bandhas tato vyatha jnanina swaswarupataha anyo anartho pramadat na. Jnani here is this very Brahmanishta. Swaswarupata means because of his real nature, which he is going to realize, because of his real nature which he has not yet realized, because of his real nature towards which he has a nishtha, there is nothing troublesome except for pramada. Other than pramada, there is no trouble. If you are steadfast in Brahman, Other than slackness, there is no trouble. If you do slackness, what happens? That series is being told. That is the style of all great teachers. If you stick to this, you will, that is the result. If you do not, that is the result. By showing the contrasting bad result, they make us stick towards the reality again and again. So, what happens? Tato moha, so if you are selecting, some delusion would come. Tato handi, what happens by delusion? Delusion or wrong knowledge. What comes? I, the ego consciousness. The, the consciousness that I am, that comes up. Tato bandha, it immediately leads to bondage. Tato vyatha, then all the troubles would fall. So during that Brahmanishta, if we slacken, what happens? We should not slacken till we reach the goal. If we slacken, what happens? Wrong knowledge shoots up, ego consciousness comes up, all the bondages of imperfection come, and all the troubles come. Other than that, if you are steadfast or that jnani, for that struggler towards real knowledge, for that who has already got the glimpse of the reality, or that jnani, there is no other source of trouble other than slackness. विषयाभिमुखे मुखम दृष्ट्वा विध्वंसमपि विस्मृति विक्षेपयति धी दोषैर् योषा जारमिव प्रियम. If the man of knowledge, this is the man of knowledge, huh? is his face towards objects. That means the idea of object has come in. Then forgetfulness of his real nature immediately takes up. Vismruti vikshepayati, and that produces all the delusions. If the man of knowledge, the struggler after knowledge, the man who has partially known the truth, if his face is turned toward the object, then the forgetfulness of his real nature distracts him, the doshe, because of the impurity in the mind. There is impurity in the mind. And because of that, the slackness has brought about Vishya Vimukha tendency. And that will distract him. He gives an example for that. Lokik example. Yaram Iva Priyam. A woman has lost her faithfulness towards her husband and she has become dear to a paramour. And that always troubles that paramour. Paramour cannot remain at peace because he is in love with a woman who is not his wife. Similarly, that is the example he gives. Similarly, if a man of knowledge, approximate knowledge, is seen to be facing objects, the forgetfulness is compared with the woman whom he loves. Forgetfulness distracts him. As a beloved distracts the paramour. In the same way, the forgetfulness of Brahman distracts even a man of knowledge, not full knowledge. Even a man of half knowledge, if he is seen to be prone towards objects. So, that necessity for apramada is being described again and again. यथापकृष्टं शैवालं क्षणमात्रं न तिष्ठति आवृणोति तथा माया प्राज्ञं वापि पराङ्मुखम्. All these examples are of a relative nature. There is a pond of water which is covered by moss. Now we remove that moss. Remove means shift it from the center towards the bank. As soon as we leave, it will run and cover the water. Now, if we stress this example, if we remove the moss and throw it outside the tank, then this will not happen. But we are just pushing it back. And as we push it back to get clean water, as soon as we leave, it rushes again to cover it. That is the example. Yatha apakrushtam shaivalam, as moss removed from a place, kshanamatram natishtati, does not stay like that even for a moment. Avrunoti comes back and covers water. Tatha pragmaya, the maya or the wrong knowledge. Prangmukham prajnam, prangmukham means one who has become averse to his jnananishta. One who has got that slackness and he has stopped his concentration on Brahman, that prajnam, he is a wise man, so called. He is a wise man, almost. He is a wise man approximately. But if he loses his concentration on Brahman, then the Maya immediately comes back. So the carefulness is being emphasized again and again that till we realize the goal, as Swamiji has said na, from Kathopanishad, arise, awake and stop not till the goal is reached. So if little remains, you will come back. So, Parangmukham Prajnam, one who is uh, his attention on Brahman is lost and it has come to opposite side, the Maya would immediately rush in. His wrong knowledge would immediately rush in and cover it, just like the moss, which is removed and comes back quickly, as we said, unless it is thrown away outside the tank. He gives another beautiful example. What happens by this pramad? Lakshachyutam chet yadi chittamishad bahirmukham sannipate tatastata प्रमादतः प्रत्युत केलि कंदुकः सोपान पंक्तौ पतितो यथा तथा. Let us think of the example first. You have a ball in hand, tennis ball or some ball which jumps, and you are where you have gone to play at the top of the staircase. Near the staircase you have gone. You should have played it in a safe place. Nothing would have happened. Even if it falls, you can collect it. But you are playing, tapping it very near the staircase. Lakshachyutam ched yadi pramadata prachyute. Then due to slackness, that Keli Kanduka, that play ball, has fallen on the staircase. Now, You try to catch it, it has gone to the next air. You try to catch it, it has gone to the still next air. If you try to catch it, it has gone to the ground floor and you cannot catch it. That is the example given. Sopana pankto patito. If due to your slackness, the ball you are tapping has fallen on the series of steps, patito yatha, tatha, in the same way, if your chitta, if your tranquil mind, ishat lakshya chutam, lakshya is Brahman, you are concentrated on that Brahman, but for a little time, the importance here is that the man who is about to get knowledge should never think, let me enjoy the world a little. This little will take you down. So, pramadata, by slackness. By slackness, what will happen? If the chittam, ishat, lakshat chutam, if little it has gone away from the aim, vair mukham sat. Why it has gone away from the aim? Because it has turned outside. Nipate tatastata, then it will fall down there and there and there. It will go on falling down, just like the ball. If it is played on the steps, then will go down. You cannot catch it. विषयेषु आविशच्चेतः संकल्पयति तद्गुणान् सम्यक् संकल्पनात् कामः कामात् पुंसा प्रवर्तनम्. What happens is that some merits, real or so-called, of the objects of enjoyment come to our mind. And so, and how the merits come to our mind? Because our mind is absorbed in some object, the merits come to our mind. Of no object can have merit infinitesimally compared to Brahman, the bliss of Brahman. But when our mind becomes absorbed in an object, we feel, oh, it has so many merits. That is the psychology. If a man loves a woman, he will see all the merits in her. If a father loves his son, he will see all the merits in his son. Similarly, vice versa. So, this Visheshu Avished Cheta, Avished enters into or becomes absorbed in some object if the tranquil mind has entered or become obsessed with some object, sankalpeti tadguna, it will start thinking of its merits. And if he thinks like that, then desire must come. Sangat Sanjayate Kama Gita has told. So that series being told by Shankaracharya in this way, that mind has become obsessed with some object, it starts thinking of its merit, and by thinking of the merits, the desire must come. And if the desire comes, then he will run after that. Anyasya kaminam karma. If he is not a man of realization, desires are there, and desires are making him have the propensity to take him towards that object. Desire and then work, desire and then action. So, if the mind becomes absorbed due to slackness into some object, it thinks of its merits, and when the thought of merit comes, then desire comes, and desire is followed by action from that man. Atha pramadatna porosti mrityu. So, 321 word that Sanat Kumar telling Pramad is Mrityu. That itself is being expanded again and again and showing how Pramada is the Mrityu. Because Pramad will not cause Mrityu at that moment. and will not understand. Sri Ramakrishna has given another example. The fort in the Maidan in Calcutta, underground fort. When we walk towards it, it is just a slight slope down. We do not feel it. But when we have walked sufficiently, we'll see we are 4 stories down. So that is the danger. तथा प्रमादात् न परोस्य मृत्युर विवेकिनो ब्रह्मविदा समाधौ समाहिता सिद्धिमुपैति सत्सम्यक समाहितात्मा भव सावधाना भव is a mandate. Therefore, Atha means therefore, there is no death more forceful than slackness. For whom normally is a Viveki, normally is a man of knowing Brahman. He feels I am Brahman, he experiences I am Brahman, he has not yet realized, he has sufficient discrimination, but for him, other than Pramada, there is no death. Samadho, Samahita, if he remains absorbed in Brahman, Siddhim Upaiti Samyak, that has not yet come. Samyak Siddhim Upaiti, what is called Sansiddhi. He has got a relative perfection, but the absolute perfection comes if he remains steadfast in Brahman. There is a point which is absolute realization that comes. So, Savadhan, be careful and be absorbed in Brahman. The Guru is telling the Shishya, therefore, for a Viveki, for a man of knowledge, partial, who is concentrated in Brahman, if he remains concentrated, he will realize really and fully. Therefore, be careful and be concentrated, be absorbed in Brahman. तथा स्वरूप विभ्रंशो विभ्रष्टस्तु पतत्यथा पतितस्य विना नाशम पुनर्नारोह ईक्षते. Then what happens? If the pramada is allowed, swarupa vibramshu, then your feeling of the swarupa will get disturbed. Vibrashtastu patatyata. What is called yoga brashta and all that is being described. If that gets disturbed, you will fall down. This should not be taken ever as dangers for a man of realization. No, no, no. And Shankara will describe that later. Here, leading to Brahmajnan, the feeling has come, even up to Aham Brahmasmi, it has come, but he has not yet realized. Such man should not lose his concentration. If he loses, then he loses the awareness of his Swarupa. And when he loses the awareness of Swarupa, he falls down. And when he falls down, there is no help but destruction. This is also relative because Swami Vivekananda said, no man can go so low that he will not come up. But the lower we fall, the more trouble we face for coming up. So the wisdom is in not falling. But because our real nature is Brahman, one day it will lift us. That is absolutely sure. There is no eternal damnation. One should be very clear about it. So, but relatively speaking, Punar Naroho Ikshate, he does not quickly see how to climb up. So this is a relative statement. One day he does see, but relatively speaking, he does not see how to climb up. Destruction is his result. Gita has told us that buddhinashat pranashyati. Sankalpam varjayet tasmat sarvanarthasya karanam जीवतो यस्य कैवल्यम विदेहे स च केवलः यत्किंचित् पश्यतो भेदम भयं ब्रूते यजुश्रुति तस्मात् therefore all types of sankalpa should be avoided. Sankalpa means the idea of an object in the mind, that is called sankalpa. That is the cause of all further troubles. When the sankalpa comes, then attachment, then desire, then action, then falling down. Difficult to get up. So, therefore, this don't allow any idea of the object in the mind. Anarthasya karanam. It is the source of all this is being described for the man who is on the way to realize. He says, if you have reached Kaivalya living, see the other side now. If you have reached Kaivalya, Kaivalya is one without a second. That is called Keval. Not the Sankhya's Kaivalya, huh? Not that I am separate from Prakriti. I am one without a second. That is Kaivalya. Jivato yasya Kaivalyam. One who has achieved this while living, Videha Sati Kaivalyam. So whether he gives up the body, Kaivalya will not go. One who is Kaivalya, living while living, even when he gives up the body, the Kaivalya is his. But if you see some difference, that means other than Brahman, you are holding some object. Yat kinchit pashyato vedam, bhayam brute yajushruti. Yajushruti, द्वितीयाद्वै भयम भवति. तैत्तिरीय Upanishad, Brahmanandavalli, 7th section, there it is told, द्वितीयाद्वै भयम भवति. If you feel something other is there, then there is the cause of fear. If you see there is nothing other, I am Keval, only I exist, I am everywhere, nothing but I. This I is not this ego, I is Brahman. So when the person with his realization of Brahman feels that he alone exists, then there is no cause of fear. As soon as if he feels, that means not realization. If he feels that there is somebody else, then the fear is bound to come. So Sankalpa should be given up, which is the cause of all trouble. One who has become Keval while living has Keval after the fall of the body also. If you feel some difference, then fear is always there with you. That is what Yaju Shruti, the Yajurveda Shruti, Taittiriya Upanishad is telling us. Pramada topic is still continuing. यदा कदा वापि विपश्चिदेश ब्रह्मणि अनन्ते पि अणुमात्र भेदं पश्यति अथामुष्य भयं तदैव यद्वीक्षितं भिन्नतया प्रमादात्. Due to this slackness, whenever Vipashit, the man of approximate knowledge, Esha Brahmani Anante, actually Brahman is infinite. And infinite means nothing else can exist. That is the meaning of infinity. Api, though Brahman is like that, Anumatra Bhedam Pashyati is a little difference. Purusha and Prakriti are different. There are many Purushas. Any type of difference, whether it is Vishishta, Advaita or Dvaita or whatever it is, if there is a little I other than Brahman, if there are some objects other than Brahman, then Anumatra Vedam Pashyati Atha Amushya Bhayam Tadai. That itself becomes the cause of fear. Pramadat yad bhinnataya vikshitam. By slackness, what is seen as different from Brahma, that itself becomes the cause of fear. Even in Brihadaranyaka it is nicely described. One who honors or loves a Brahmin as separate from Brahman, that love itself becomes his fall. So anything seen other than Brahman itself becomes his fall. Brahmadat bhinnataya vikshitam. If there is no slackness, then nothing will be seen which is not Brahman. Shruti smriti nyaya shater nishitte drishetra yas swatmamatim karoti upaiti dukkha upari dukkha jatam nishiddha karta sa malim lucho yatha. Shruti has negated, smritis have negated, proper common sense logic has negated in hundreds of ways the difference. They have negated the existence of the objects of perception. Drishyatra. Yes, Swatma Matim Karu. Drishyam is in our body. In our body, Indriyas, organs, mind, they are all Drishya. And Shruti, Smruti, and the outside world. Shruti, Smruti, and proper logic have all negated that, have shown that that is not real, that is not yourself. But if we have Swatma Matim, I am this body. Then he gets trouble after trouble. Dukkopari dukkha jatam. Dukkha jatam means the category of dukkhas come to him. Example is given. Malim lucho, like a thief. Nishiddha karta. You have been told not to steal other things. And yet he steals. Then dukkopari dukkha jatam is your fate. You cannot escape. Trying to escape police itself is a big dukkha. And the police will not leave you at all. Today, tomorrow, it will follow you till you are caught. Nobody who has stolen can be left. If he does not meet that fate here, still worse in the next life. So, example is given of a thief who, though has been forbidden, does the wrong thing, then Smriti Nyaya has forbidden us to feel the Dvaita, and yet we feel the seen object as myself. The whole trouble is here. Body or indriyas or mind are seen objects, but we feel they are I. And if that comes, then trouble after trouble, just like trouble after trouble would follow a thief. One more. Satyavisandhanarato vimukto महत्तम आत्मीय मुपैति नित्यम मिथ्याभिसंधान प्रतस्तु नश्येत दृष्टम तदेतत् यद अचौर चौरयो. That is in the Chandogya Upanishad story. One who is anusandhana rato, one who is addicted to following the truth, vimukto, he becomes free. Atmiya mahatam upaiti nityam, nityam, permanent, his own glory he attains. He attains his own permanent glory. He becomes free if he remains addicted to searching for the truth. On the other hand, if mithya avisandhi, avisandhana rata, he is addicted to false identification, he will come to destruction. Now the story in Chandogya Upanishad is like this. Something was stolen from somebody. He doubted someone, and the police caught him and brought before the magistrate or the king. He asked him, why you have been brought here? He said, because these people think I am a thief. Then are you a thief or not? If he says I am not a thief, then test him. And they used to hold a heated axe before him and he was asked to touch it. And if he speaks a lie, his hand would burn. But if he has actually not stolen, and he says, I have not stolen, then even after touching the axe, his hand would not burn. That was the understanding at that time. Nobody had questioned that. And that example Shankar is giving here, that if one is telling the truth, one's hand is not burned. If one is telling the untruth, his hand is burned. Not only hand is burned, but they catch him and put him to gallows. And if his hand is not burned, they release him. So he's free forever. So this example, so he says, one who is addicted to truth, supreme truth, search for the supreme truth. One is addicted to that, will attain nitya, permanent, his own permanent glory. And one who is addicted to untruth, that means the realism of the world or his body, he comes to destruction, just as in the case of a non-thief, achaura choroya. The non-thief is speaking truth and the thief is speaking untruth. So just like the non-thief and thief are either become fully free or come to destruction. So the man who is addicted to truth will have permanent freedom. Our time is over. We are read up to Shloka 332. The same topic will continue for another 70, 80 shlokas. Then we will find the description of man of realization. Om Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tama Gocharam Govindam Paramanandam Sadgurum Pranatosmyam Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.